in the Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. If you jump on here live here on this Sunday evening, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. If you follow me on Facebook, you've seen me earlier today. Me, the wife, our daughter, and a few folks from church. Hey there, Marcus. Glad to have you here on this Sunday evening. Had what we call a Todd Family Fun Day where we just sit around and either eat food that we think is going to be nasty or eat food that we know is going to be nasty, just purely for entertainment. So if you follow me on Facebook, you saw that earlier today. If you don't, make sure you start so that next time we do one of those, you can chime in on the comment section during the live videos and talk about it. But tonight we're going to talk about some NASCAR since the regular season hopefully is 2 weeks from today as far as in the Cup Series. And the reason why I say hopefully is because last year there wasn't one time during the whole season that a race was delayed because of rain, shortened because of rain, ran late because of rain, or had to run the next day because of rain. And usually in NASCAR, since they're outside and outdoors, at least 2 or 3 times a year, there's rain delays or, it gets cut short because of rain, run the next day because of rain. But it didn't happen one time all of last year, and that normally doesn't happen 2 years in a row. And this year is off to a bad start because today was supposed to be the Clash, which a lot of folks don't watch because it's basically preseason. But I watch it anyway since I'm a diehard NASCAR fan. But with all the snow and ice in Winston-Salem, it originally got pushed back to tomorrow. And then today it got pushed back to Wednesday. But they're calling for more snow and ice later on this week in the area. So it may not be on Wednesday. So hopefully the Daytona 500, which will be in 2 weeks, it's scheduled on February the 15th. Good evening, 5703. Glad to have you here. And if it's morning time where you are, you're apparently, obviously, nowhere near where I am. So good evening from me. Good morning to you, wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Sunday night here in America. If it's your first time being here, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. For whatever reason made you stop by the channel, thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, and if it is your first time here, I know you have not subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. But if the Daytona 500 is 2 weeks from today, that means it's less than 2 weeks to the regular season starts, because when the season starts, we'll have the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on that Friday night, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series that Saturday, and then the Cup Series that Sunday. So today I want to talk about my predictions on who I think will be either your playoff drivers or your playoff contenders in the Truck Series and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And I'm going to give you my 16 playoff drivers in the Cup Series. And I might even tell you who I think is going to win the championship in each series. If I do that, that's going to be strictly off the cuff, because all I planned on doing was telling you who I think will be the playoff contenders or playoff drivers and not picking a champion. So if I do that, that's going to be completely, strictly off the cuff with no thought whatsoever about it. We'll start with what will be, if they start on time, that Friday night race from Daytona International Speedway in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Now, last year, Corey Heim won 12 races. And the Craftsman Truck Series only runs 25 races. So for somebody to win 12 out of 25, he basically, for the most part, won half the races. And that's something you're probably never going to see again. So Corey Heim has graduated from the truck series, at least on a full time basis. But, he's not going to race full time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series because rumor is he's going to be full time in the Cup series next year. So instead of signing a 1 year deal with somebody in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, he's just going to drive part time this year, probably in all three series, and get used to what the Cup car feels like. I think he'll be full time in the Cup next year. He's only 23, still very, very young, and he's actually from Georgia. So we have a NASCAR, soon to be Cup Series driver from Georgia. Back in the day, you had a lot from Georgia, but now outside of Chase Elliott, he's about the only one that's full time in Cup who is from Georgia. Hey there, Zachary. Glad to have you here. Hey there, 4995. Glad to have you here. Hey there, Lane. Glad to have you here. And hey there, Ima. Glad to have you here. And thank you so much for dropping that like, Ima. I really, really appreciate it. You have a great night as well. And Lane and 4995, I think it's y'all's first time being here. If it is, for whatever reason, made you stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up, just like Ima did, and subscribe to the channel. But in the truck series, these are the guys I think will be 49.95. You have to tell me who you are because I don't recognize your YouTube name, so I'm not sure who you are. So tell me what your actual name is, and I'll tell you if I have spoke to your dad lately. Obviously, you know me, and I guess I know you too, but just your YouTube comment name does not sound familiar. These are my drivers who I think will be either your playoff drivers or your playoff contenders in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. I'm not going numerically. I'm not going alphabetically. It's just the drivers that, as I thought about them, I wrote them down. Oh, Paisley, it's you. No, I have not. I have not actually seen your dad. And I don't know, I guess the last time I seen him was the day I seen you and him together, whatever day that was, ever how long ago that's been. It was the last time I have seen or talked to him. Hey there, Jamal. Glad to have you here. We got Grant Enfinger, Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Hemrick, Christian Eckes, Lane Riggs, and Lane Riggs is the son of former Cup Series driver Scott Riggs. Now, a lot of times these drivers get these rides based on their name and who their daddy is, and they end up not being any good. But in the case of Lane Riggs, he's already way better than his daddy ever was. Chandler Smith, Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, Caden Honeycutt, Tanner Gray, Gio Ruggiero, and Daniel Dye. Well, hopefully I'll be seeing you more, 49.95. And hey there, son. Glad to have you here. And Caden Honeycutt is the driver who took the full-time ride that Corey Heim had last year. But I'll go ahead and go out on a limb and say that Caden Honeycutt will not win 12 races like Corey Heim did last year. And son, we are talking about NASCAR tonight because I'm a huge NASCAR fan. And the regular season is hopefully less than 2 weeks away. The Daytona 500 is 2 weeks from today if it's ran on time, which means the regular season is less than that because we'll have the truck race that Friday night and the O'Reilly Auto Parts race that Saturday, and then we'll have that Cup race that Sunday. Well, if you're a huge NASCAR fan, you've come to the right place because I love NASCAR. I'd like to talk about it more, but I need more NASCAR fans here on the channel. So, son, maybe you can start the movement and get more NASCAR fans here on the channel. As far as the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series goes, Jesse Love is the defending O'Reilly Auto Parts Series champion. It would not surprise me at all if he wins back-to-back championships. He's another young, really good driver. Plus, he drives that number 2 car for Childress, which has been one of the strongest cars in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series since it was the Busch series back in the late 90s. But they're drivers who are either going to be playoff drivers or playoff contenders. We have Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Carson Quapple, who's the son of Travis Quapple, who won a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship back in the day. I want to say it was the year 2000, but don't quote me on that. Justin Allgaier, Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, which, by the way, great name. When your mama names you Brandon, your mama loves you. Taylor Gray, Harrison Burton, who's the son of Jeff Burton, Parker Retzloff, William Sawalich, and then Jeb Burton, who is the son of Ward Burton, which, by the way, Ward Burton's name was not Ward. I've never heard where that name came from, but Ward Burton's name was actually John. So no clue where Ward came from, but that was not his actual name. Jeb Burton is named after his daddy, and Jeb actually stands for John Edward Burton, which is also Ward Burton's real name. Now, as far as the Cup Series goes, I know it's no longer the playoffs. It's called the Chase now among all 3 series. I know I keep saying playoff contenders, but that sounds better to me than saying Chase contenders. But these are my 16 drivers who I think will be your 16 Chase drivers in the Cup Series. And again, it's not alphabetical, it's not numerical. Just as I thought about a driver and thought, oh, yeah, he'll make the Chase, I wrote his name down. We have Austin Cindric, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, defending champion, of course, Kyle Larson, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Brad Keselowski. Now, I know Shane Van Gisbergen made the playoffs last year because he won 5 road course races, and now they've cut it back to 4 road course races. It was 7, now it's back to 4. And now they've changed the way you make the Chase. It's no longer a win and you're in, which is going to make it harder for Van Gisbergen to get in. I don't think he'll win all 4 road courses, but I think he could easily win 2 or 3 of them. But I do think he'll somehow, some way get some top 10s this year in, the mile-and-a-half racetracks, the mile racetracks, because last year, as the season progressed, he slowly got better on ovals. So I think his 2 or 3 road course wins, along with some top 5s and top 10s on ovals, will be enough to get him in this year. And if Kyle Busch makes it, to most people, that's a shock because, he's been with Childress now for 3 years. This will be year 4. And outside of the first 10 races in 2023, when he won 3 times, he's been awful in that car for Childress. But he's got a brand new crew chief now. Him and Randall Burnett might be best of friends outside of the racetrack, but their crew chief driver combination just didn't work. So now he's got a brand new crew chief in Jim Pullman, and Kyle Busch has not won since 2023, and I'll be shocked if he goes a 3rd full season and doesn't win a race. I think he'll win a couple of races this year, which will be good enough to make the playoffs. So those are my 16 drivers in the Chase and the Cup Series, and my playoff or Chase contenders in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Craftsman Truck Series. Now, last year, before the season started, I picked Kyle Larson to win the championship, and I actually got it right. So, it was good to be right because it was just strictly off the cuff. He just felt right last year. He's who I went with, and he won it. So if I have to make a prediction this year and just go out on a limb, I would say give me Christopher Bale only because he's very, very, very consistent. He doesn't win a lot, but he's very, very, very consistent. And I think since they've changed the rules now and it's more points to win a race, but it's now more about consistency, which is what NASCAR used to be about. And Bell is so consistent. Give me Christopher Bell. I'm not exactly picking him, but if you ask me who I, off the top of my head, thought would win it, I would say Christopher Bell. But I hope my man Kyle Busch wins it and wraps up his time at Richard Childress Racing and signs with a bigger team in the off season. Any thoughts on any of this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What do you call a sleeping bull? Bulldozer. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of three. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.